In this video, I am going to walk you through the process of beneficiary registration in LMMS. A good registration should only register project-targeted beneficiaries into the system. Registration in LMMS is done by use of two different registration applications, online or semi-online, which is the mobile client application, or offline, which is the LMMS offline registration application. This video is going to cover beneficiary registration processes using mobile client application. The first step before you begin registration is to always make sure your device is properly configured. This video is not going to cover device configuration processes. It will only focus on the actual registration. Let's launch the LMMS Android browser from our Android device menu and select Online Operations. Log in using your credentials. After you successfully log in, you'll be directed to the mobile client application home screen. Here you can see a number of mobile client application modules, beneficiary registry, health monitoring, proxy registration, and distribution. To start the registration process, touch on beneficiary registry. This action will load the beneficiary registry home screen. A consent notification that notifies the data collector to acknowledge consent from the beneficiary or representative for every data collection exercise has been obtained before the registration is actually done. Touch on the consent notification pop-up to dismiss the notification from the screen. The beneficiary registry screen gives beneficiary population statistics on the server the mobile device is connected to. The server my mobile device is connected to has 72 households and 176 members. Communities are the lowest level locations where these 72 households and 176 beneficiaries households live. Note that only communities with beneficiaries will be displayed on this beneficiaries registry screen. To start a new beneficiary registration, touch on this plus sign to load a new household input form. The new household registration screen, as you can see, is a multi-tab screen that's used to capture various data for the household. Family name. Enter the household family name as it appears in the local ID if available. Let's type Mlandi as the family name. Community is the lowest level location where the family or household lives. Let's type Baba as the community. You'll notice that as you begin to type, the system will provide a list of communities that match what you've typed. Select one from the provided list. Let's then select Baba. If the community is not available on the provided list, please contact your LMMS system admin for the community to be added. The notes field is used to capture additional data pertinent to the household that may not be captured by the other standard household fields. Up to 300 characters can be typed in this field. Next, check the consent box if the household consents that their data can be used by multiple agencies that may be working in the same area. Please note that family name and community on this tab are required. Data must be supplied for these, otherwise you will not be able to save the household. The other fields must not be populated. Now let's navigate to the address tab by touching address. The current address input box is used to capture the household's current residential address. I'm going to type School Lane, Nairobi. In the GPS coordinates, touch the GPS capture button to auto-populate the latitude and the longitude fields. You can touch the X button adjacent to the GPS capture button to clear the captured GPS coordinates. This is particularly important if house-to-house registration is conducted, otherwise the GPS coordinates are only going to be for the location where the registration is done. After the GPS coordinates are captured, this permanent location of residence box can be optionally selected if the coordinates represent the household's permanent location of residence. Originating country is used to identify the country of origin if you are registering migrants. Let's type South Sudan or the International Standards Organization Alpha 2 country code, which is SS for South Sudan. If you're not sure of the ISO Alpha 2 country code, simply type the full country name. And lastly, the originating address. Here you enter the household originating address. Let's type Kalebe Yei. Let's navigate to the Conditions tab. Here you select the household level vulnerabilities that apply to this household. For profile reports completeness purpose, it is important this data is captured for each household whenever possible. Let's select food insecure, shelter insecure for this household, as multiple vulnerabilities can be selected when they apply. This down arrow adjacent to some of the vulnerability conditions indicates that there is additional information you can expand to view for the subject vulnerability. Let's see what's under other disaster affected. Alright, to the members tab now. A household is comprised of household members, one of which is the head of the household. A household can have many members, but only one head of household. Touch the plus sign to launch an empty screen to add new household member. As you can see, family name carries through from the new household screen. If the household member has a different family name, then you need to override the current family name with the necessary family name. Given name, enter the household member given name or the first name. For example, Mark. If the beneficiary has some form of government ID, enter the given name as it appears in that ID. If the context in which you are registering allows photo taking, touch the photo thumbnail to invoke the camera application and take the beneficiary passport frame photo. You need to be as close as to the face as possible. If you want to edit or update an existing photo, touch the existing photo and this will open a new activity that allows you to delete, accept, cancel or take a new photo. Please note that the photo field is not a mandatory field. Identify gender by selecting either male or female. Let's select male. Enter the beneficiary date of birth if available. If the beneficiary doesn't have an official record of their date of birth, then estimate age of the beneficiary. Touch the 3 vertical dots on the date of birth field to invoke the date picker and select the date of birth. Enter 1990, July. If you capture the age instead, the system will then auto-populate the date of birth with an estimate date of birth that defaults to January 1st and then the year. The approximation symbol adjacent to the date of birth indicates the date of birth is an estimate. Relationship is a single selection drop-down list. Here you will need to touch to select the household member's relation to the head of the household. The list includes all these options you can see, which for a member that's not the head, they relate to the head of the household through one of these options, e.g. child of head of household, spouse of head of household, etc. etc. Marital status is also a single selection drop-down list. Here, you specify the member's marital status. These are the options available. Let's select married. Status is also a single selection drop-down list for the member status in the system. New member registrations are active by default. These are the options available under the status drop-down. Please note that only active members are included in distribution ration calculation and reporting. The registration date always defaults to the current date, which is the date the beneficiary was registered. Let's move to the More tab by touching More. Here you will enter additional member information. Pre-printed barcodes can be assigned to household members by scanning or manually typing onto the assigned ID input box. If a barcoded ID is available for scanning, touch on the barcode button to invoke the scanner application and then scan the barcode. When assigned IDs are entered in the system, they'll override the internal generated ID and will then be published as default member ID, which will appear in reports, LMS printed ration ID cards, and also used in searches. The assigned ID input box accepts alphanumeric data up to 18 characters, but please note that the longer the assigned ID, the wider the barcode that will be printed. If a government-issued ID card is available, touch the type drop-down list and select the type of the ID, which would be a passport number, national ID card, driver's license, etc. etc. This list is usually country-specific, so you may see data only specific to your country. Let us select the social security number. After you select the government ID type, enter the actual ID number in the number input box. Capture the mobile phone details under the carrier and the number fields. Touch the carrier drop-down list to select the mobile phone service provider from this list. This list is country-specific as well. Select Safaricom and then enter the actual phone number in the phone input box. Let's enter 07 00 23 45 67. Repeat this for second mobile phone number if available. The payment account section is used to specify and capture electronic payment account information that will be used to process electronic payments for projects that deliver assistance through electronic payments to beneficiaries. Payment agency is the financial service provider that will be used to carry out electronic payments. This can be a bank, a microfinance institution, a mobile telephone company, etc. etc. Let's select Safaricom from the drop-down list. Touch the account type drop-down to select the type of electronic payment account the service provider will use to process credit deposits. Let's select M-Pesa for this example. Account number is the beneficiary electronic payment account number. Account numbers may vary from bank account numbers, mobile telephone systems, e-wallets, etc. etc. Enter the account number that corresponds to the payment agency and account type that you selected above. Client number is an optional number that has been assigned by the payment agency to their clients. If it is not available, then leave the field blank. You will need to select the check mark. Remember this payment agency and account type for this session. If the same payment account details also apply to other household members that still need to be registered. This will simplify the data entry process as the user will only have to type the account number. Touch the Add button after capturing all the required details to add the payment account to the user profile, or touch the Cancel button to return to the current household member More tab. Now touch the Vulnerabilities tab to navigate to member vulnerabilities. Multiple vulnerabilities can be selected for each member as necessary. Check mark TB and refugee for this member. Member vulnerabilities with the down pointing arrow symbol indicates that there is more information associated with the particular vulnerability. Touch the symbol to expand the vulnerability list so you can view the additional descriptive text. For example, let's see what's under IDP. For profile reports completeness, it is important that this data is captured for each member whenever possible. However, emergency type registrations may not allow time to capture such data. Please note that this vulnerabilities screen has been stretched to list all the vulnerabilities and is not necessarily the size of the screen you see now. Touch the Additional Fields tab. Here you can enter any member-specific information that is not captured by the standard member vulnerabilities. While on any member screen or tab like Main, More, Vulnerabilities, and Additional Fields, please note that the user interface data validation logic will apply as fit. For example, you cannot save a member without a date of birth. Touch the New button to save the current member and to open a new household registration screen. Let us add another member. Family name Rajab. Given name Rita. Gender female. Age 37 years. Relationship spouse. Marital status married. Status active. And registration date, it will pick the current date of the system. Touch the OK button if this is the last household member to be registered in this household. Alternatively, you can also touch the Cancel button to discard the current member details. This will then take you back to the Members tab. If you want to update any member, touching it will open the member in edit mode. While on any household screen or tab like Main, Address, Conditions, and Members, note that user interface data validation logic will apply as fit. For example, you cannot save a household without members. Touch the New button to save the current household and to open a new household registration screen. If this is the last household member, then repeat the steps we just did to register another household. Touch the Save button to save the current household. This action will take you to the Beneficiaries screen. And lastly, click the Cancel button to discard the current household data. This will also take you to the Beneficiaries screen. For this session, touch the Save button to save the household record. At any point during the registration process, you can return to the module homepage or Beneficiaries screen by touching the global drop-down menu, which are the 3 vertical dots, then select Beneficiary Registry. To return to Mobile Client Application home screen, select LMMS Home from the global drop-down menu. We hope this video has been helpful for you to understand the process of registering beneficiaries in LMMS. You can also look at the support materials included below. You can also reach out to us by sending an email to helpdesk@lmms.org. Thank you.